I can sit in the car.
I did get a chance to say that, so. I don't know. Scares from my people.
They give it to you like one piece at a time, like you have to have your organization profile, when you have the application. You have to take the application done before you get to this stage.
Shows that it's not make it together, that it's complete.
Yeah.
How you doing, Brett?
No bar, but whatever it's not.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Don't have to be.
He's your meet. I'm ready to go. Yeah. I can.
They just. I thought you said. I would go away.
Okay. I go ahead and call to order. The session of the Pleasantville School Board of Directors is Monday, April 7th, 2025. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you mind reading our mission statement?
Sure. Our mission to graduate all students with high levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, prepared for productive, compassionate citizenship through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support.
Thank you. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Introduction of our audience.
I'm Madeline Carlton. I'm here about the budget.
Welcome.
Morgan Thomas, potential budget.
I'm not. I still remember.
Result.
Laura Thomas, fifth grade here. I'm Taylor Thomas, teacher and parent. Red Thomas, second.
I'm the teacher.
Thank you. Welcome. Brings us to public forum for individuals who are on site during this portion of the board meeting. Members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation and or concerns. At the discretion of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed at the time specific agenda items are under consideration by the board. Please see district policy BDDH. For those viewing online, school district posts the upcoming agenda on our website, pleasanthill.k12.or.us, the Friday before regularly scheduled Monday school board meetings. This will allow for public comment prior to board meetings. Please click on the tab provided to share your comments for the school board to consider at the upcoming meeting. Personnel matters may not be discussed in public at a school board meeting. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or accommodations should share them directly with the district superintendent, Mr. Chris. That, do we have public comment this evening?
Excuse me. Oh, good. Well, thank you. I was gonna ask about the public comment change. Because prior, it used to be you guys had a discussion, then there was public comment, you guys made votes, but now the public comment went to the beginning. But I went on for the agenda. And it was fantastic because you guys had a whole board packet online. So you get to read what you guys are gonna discuss. And I thought that was great because I got to the end of it. And there's this district's proactive approach, key initiatives implemented for like reading literacy, that sort of stuff. And it looks like the leveraging the retirement of second grade teacher to realign staffing. And I'm just wondering, like there's a teacher that's leaving retirement. So we're not gonna add an instructor. Does anybody know where that instructor is coming from and moving to? Because we're not adding an instructor. And then the second one says we're hiring an instructional coach. So we're removing a teacher, adding an administrator. Done. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. So then I looked at the enrollment on here, and it looks like we're at 10-year lows. So we're 10-year lows, removing instructors, adding administrators. I run a business. You take frontline workers away, and you add to management, you're gonna fail. So, go, you guys figure that out. So, thank you.
So I can respond to to clarify, no, it's a licensed staff member is an instructional coach, not administrator.
Right, but they're not gonna be dealing with kids.
That is not necessarily true.
So what staff member is leaving?
I just want to clarify, because I don't want to go back and forth as far as, oh, it's the second grade teachers resigning.
Yeah, right, but you're taking a staff member that is, I'm guessing, you don't have a teacher in the building that doesn't teach kids full time. And an instructional coach is designed to, I guess, coach the teacher, like teach the teacher type thing.
Yeah.
So if we take somebody away that's hands-on with kids and we replace them with a trainer, you're removing like hands-on, like business work. Like for me, it would be like somebody running a bomb. And you replace it with somebody to train somebody how to run it. But you're not gonna get the job done. And like the pages before talk about this literacy and how important it is, and it's like, is it? I don't know.
Yes, there's quite a few components to it, including our STAR assessment system that we're bringing on board as well. And then changing some literacy practices, which includes professional development.
Teaching is pretty simple. I mean, it's like there's basics to there's basics to how you have to have a teacher teaching. You can't have administrators administrating it and expect that something's gonna happen there. That's where all the big companies fail.
But it's
And
not,
it's not a big company, there's not money to waste on administration. There's a finite amount of money in this thing.
it's not an administrator.
Okay, so it's not an
There's no
administrator. So
increase, there's no increase to staffing.
Yeah, exactly, that's the problem.
Well, we're got,
That's, you're shuffling the deck around. And as long as everybody understands what's shuffling on the deck, I think it's fair, you guys are all elected. But it's. I mean, I'm not impressed. I would. My business has grown 3 times in the last 8 years. And we've added 1 administrator management type person, a trainer type person. Enrollment's fallen. And we're adding a layer of supervision.
this person is not a supervisor. They cannot supervise.
Well, the union, they
That's
can't
to
supervise.
do with the union, it has to do with state statute.
So what is this person gonna do?
They will provide instructional coaching to staff. There's also room in their job posting, job description to do enrichment for students and oversee enrichment program.
At what schools?
Between, right, it's gonna be district wide, but right now the focus is on K.
So I'm guessing somebody from the elementary school is gonna have to fill a second grade position. And then you're gonna have this new person go K-8. So the most important years of education, you can't read going into middle school, poverty is at your doorstep. And we're gonna just put in a coach. But my 3 minutes are up. You guys can take it from here, you're elected.
So that we had an audience member arrive a little bit after we started. Was there any further public comment?
I don't know, no. My Molly, teacher, parent, what has been proposed as what we've been told as the shift in staffing that will occur next year will directly impact the students that I serve. While enrollment is down, I won't argue that at a 10-year low, as more excited to look at that closely. Our numbers in the upper grade levels are holding steady, if not significantly larger. We've got 5th grade classes at 28 apiece right now. I feel like, and this could be a conversation at just the elementary level, and probably want to have, that the position that's we will be losing or reallocating elsewhere in the building is one that will deeply affect the students in the upper grade levels. The position that we are reallocating goes beyond what her job description states. She provides support to my students in math, my students that I feel we are not serving to the best of our ability. They are not being qualified for special education. And so in a class of, 24, 25, our hands are tied with meeting the needs of these diverse learners. I have students that are learning at a 7th grade level based off of this new STAR assessment, and students that are learning at a 2nd grade level. And the position that is being cut, she serves our math students during her breaks. She's working with kiddos who need breaks for behavior reasons. It's just, I feel like change is hard. I'm not arguing that. I don't want to make waves. That's not my personality. I feel like my job as an educator is to speak for my students, and my students will miss that position next year.
Impact will also be, and Keelan Thomas, I'm our current title support for K2, but with those kids as well, so my position is supposed to be stretched to K5, which is unprecedented for this district, we've been K3 before, I've done it. But it's gonna put a heavier load on my plate, these are kids that need a lot more than just your, average reading writing. So, I worry for all of our kids right now, I worry for our staff, I worry for the culture of our community with, reallocating FTE as it's visible to us. I hope, our board really takes, these thoughts, from the community into consideration. I think many parents don't know this is happening. Those that do are not happy. And I just hope we keep the kids in mind, that the people that work closest to them are the teachers. So appreciate you taking the time to listen to these concerns and think about how this will impact for those who are.
Thank you. Brings us to 5.0 presentations recognition, 5.1 student of the month, most improved students of the month.
Good evening, board. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. So the most improved students of the month at the high school, 9th grade was Zoe Hartzell. 10th grade was Gabe Van Wordstring. 11th grade, Renee Beltran Lopez. And 12th grade, Patrick Labruska. And our students of the month, we had our 9th grader, Peyton White. 10th grade, Zoe Diltz. No 11th grade student of the month. And the senior student of the month was Emily Ward.
Thank you.
And I did get a text message on my way here from Lexi who said our student reps are not gonna be here.
It's too bad. Miss them. Okay. We'll skip 5.2 and go right into 6.0 budget committee applicants interview.
So we had 3 total applicants and we have 2 here tonight, Morgan Thomas and Ellen Crawford.
Would like to go first.
Matt. Way. So that's it.
Okay. Please remember.
I guess we'll start off with, your motivation to apply for the budget committee.
I mean, I've always tried to stay involved in the community and in various different committees and things. Morgan mentioned that I am president of the PTO. My time there is coming to an end as my youngest is going to be transitioning out to middle school in a couple of years. So I think just kind of staying tuned in the community and
And experience with budgets.
I'm a business owner. I've owned a couple businesses now. I work in, so, I'm taking care of my own budgets and making sure that things are staying afloat. Still have my house, so I guess it's going well. And I work in real estate, so a lot of what I do is kind of helping guide people through arguably the biggest financial decision of their lives in some cases. So I feel like I have an okay handle on what it takes to do a job.
And I know personally, but just
Yeah.
for the board and for the sake of consistency, your history with the school district.
Yeah, sure. I am a homesteader in Pleasant Hill. I went K through 12. My kids are actually 5th generation to go through the school district. Live out here, moved away. I said I was gonna move as far away as I could for graduation, and now I live about 100 yards from the house I grew up in. So, yeah, well, like for
And any other questions from the rest of the board? Thank you very much. Mr. Thomas?
My motivation. Well, you needed a spot, number one. I feel like it's anybody's duty like, I hope everybody up there, you guys all want an election to be there. I think it's everybody's duty to see how their taxes are spent. Help where you can. Couple of days I spent in school picking up the kids at the end of the day and see teachers clean the tables and all of that stuff. And ask me, why are you disinfecting all your tables? I come from the commercial cleaning business and, but there's some way on that side that I can help. I know you guys look at attendance. And a lot of the attendance is sick kids, and if there's a way that we can figure out a machine, piece of equipment, there's a lot of stuff that can happen that kill viruses and do that stuff before it ever actually gets sick. And not have teachers playing in their classrooms. So I think they have more important things to be doing. That's some kind of serious. I manage business in town, we franchise commercial cleaning. So there's 30 franchisees that I deal with on a daily basis. Help them with their budgets, grow their business, deal with issues, all of that sort of stuff. And then well, Caitlin and I own a business in Idaho that we got to run. So it's a little area, not area, primary business, but.
And your history with the district?
2019, moved out here because open enrollment was done and more was going to be able to go to school here. So we got moved into the school district. Getting us here for I think 20 years. 12 years. 10 years.
Or maybe going on 15 years. It's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, I coached little kids basketball, did little kids soccer on the Pleasant Hill Bay Ruth board, coached baseball team. So anywhere I know I'm painting, but I get it. I've lived it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you both. Welcome to you guys can stick around. We're going to be approving budget committee members here in a couple of minutes, or you guys can take off and you'll be notified. I mean, seems like it's pretty dicey at this point. Who's going to get paid?
I was very first making sure.
Let's bring this to some final action items. 7.1, approve March 17th, 2025 board meeting minutes. No concerns or emotions.
Move to approve March 17th, 2025 board meeting minutes.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 Passes unanimously. 7.2, accept Q3 enrollment report. Questions or concerns there? None, I will hear motions.
Move to accept the Q3 enrollment report.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. 7.3, accept Q3 financial report. No question or further discussion on their motions for that as well. Q3 financial report.
Okay.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimously. 7.4, approve budget committee members. Given that, we only have two of the applicants here, we have two openings. You know, if there's any further discussion that needs to occur, for your motion. To approve our two applicants.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Congrats. 7.5, approve DEC guidelines.
So at our March 17th meeting, I brought these forward for discussion. Wasn't a lot of discussion, there was some more changes, so the discussion draft that we talked about at the March 17th, what I've got here in front of you right now. If you look under number one, purpose, the committee's primary roles would include advising the school board and superintendent on the equity impacts of policy decisions, identifying and informing the board on situations that may be impacting the representative students, along with recommendations for resolution, highlighting and sharing effective strategies when the school positively impacts the representative students with guidance on how to replicate success district-wide. The goal of the committee would be to create a structured space for sharing and examination of information, with focus on amplifying represented voices and fostering meaningful engagement across the district. And the composition that we'd be looking for is between 6 and 12 members. 2 to 3 students in grades 7 to 12, 2 to 3 staff members, 3 parents and caregivers, and 1 to 2 community partners. Additional role, 1 member of the equity committee would also serve on the district's budget committee when vacancy occurs. And the term lengths, students serve for 1 year, parents, caregivers, staff, and community partners would serve for 2 years with an option to extend to 3 years. Application review process, there will be a screening and review of applications, so this would be considered once we've got a committee in place. So a subcommittee would review applications. They would select a process that ensures the maintenance of the committee composition and membership stated under number 3. And then superintendent would make recommendations to the board of directors for committee placement. Meeting structure and expectations. We expect the committee to meet 2 to 3 times during the school year with additional meetings as needed. Committee will annually select a facilitator and co-facilitator. Meetings will be no more than 2 hours in the early evening. Dinner and childcare may be provided. Members will have the option to present to the school board, though this is not a requirement. And the responsibilities of decision-making process. So they would advise on equity-related issues, identify systemic barriers affecting underrepresented students, provide actionable recommendations to the district leadership, and then inform policy and decision-making by evaluating the equity impact of district policies and initiatives, recommend culturally responsive strategies for improving educational outcomes. The reporting and accountability would include submitting reports to the superintendent and school board as needed, an end-of-year summary to highlight key recommendations, challenges, and progress. School board will review and respond to the committee recommendations, ensuring accountability and transparency, and the equity committee will operate as an advisory board and may be dissolved if its purpose is fulfilled. And process for resignation or removal. So committee members are expected to actively participate in meetings, contribute to discussions. If a member is unable to fulfill their commitment, the following process will apply. They could resign. So a member wishing to resign must submit a written notice. The resignation should include the effective date. Committee members may be removed for repeated unexcused absences, conduct that is disruptive, discriminatory, and inconsistent with the committee's purpose. Failure to uphold the values of the committee. In the process for removal, superintendent or committee facilitator will provide a written or verbal warning and outlining concerns. If concerns persist, the member may be recommended for removal to the board of directors by majority vote by the committee. The replacement may be appointed based on the selection process outlined in section 4.
Questions, concerns? All right, I will hear motions.
I'll move to approve the DEC guidelines. Resolution 2425.213 instead of 2425.214.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. That's unanimously. 8.0 board discussion, 8.1, 25, 26 board meeting calendars.
Got in front of you is two versions to take a look at and give you some feedback on it. And part of this is the ongoing effort to optimize board meeting efficiency and engagement. Version 1 is more of a traditional approach. Structured like we have since I've been here, and prior to becoming on board. So that's generally 2 board meetings per month, 3 work sessions are incorporated throughout the year for in-depth discussions on key topics. And the budget process is built into the schedule during May and June to facilitate financial planning. In version 2, introducing more consolidated meeting schedule with increased flexibility. So generally we have 1 board meeting per month, September, November, and March. An additional work session is included alongside the regular board meetings to allow for extended discussions on strategic matters. The budget process remains incorporated in May and June to ensure proper financial oversight and planning. And an alternative option in version 2 would include maintaining 1 regular board meeting per month, adding special meetings or work sessions as needed, providing flexibility to address district and board priorities as they arrive. Consideration for discussion, so board members encouraged to provide input on which structure best meets the needs of the district and supports effective governance, and flexibility of having work sessions and special meetings. Version 2 provides adaptability, but requires careful scheduling to ensure all necessary topics are addressed in a timely manner and maintain consistency with past practice, which is version 1. May offer continuity, while version 2 allows for more streamlined approach with adaptable scheduling. Feedback and building the schedule. They would likely need to go a little, we'd like to go later because we would put the reporting and business stuff together into one. Yeah.
Meeting for longer times.
That was something that was one of the considerations I had as well.
Upset?
I like version 2.
It sounds like I have no kids at home. Feels like we might be able to be more coordination between topics to squish them together in the same meeting rather than separating them. Sure. That's what I mean. Well, that's one less thing to do, yeah, exactly, and mind your intentionally. Not set and start with the hour. Flexible, but I prefer. We can always add meetings once we need to. That's still there.
Something, I don't remember if you remember or not, something that came out in our last board meeting was the need for the 5 of us to be able to have a discussion, about, I'm gonna use our possible facility upgrades as an example. I think Jim sent out a bunch of good information about options and wants feedback on what, if there's other things that we see, or what of those things should be at the top of the priority list. And I mean, I have ideas, but I know that you 4 do also, and it feels, to me, it feels disrespectful to you to ask you to have the same conversation 5 times over emails and office meetings when we could just sit down like a normal group of people and share thoughts and collaborate. And I know that the collaborative decision that we come up with is going to be much better than one person's idea. I want to be able to bounce ideas off the four of you and, I think either version can work. But I think we all need to be on board with the fact that there are gonna be things in the board discussion column that are going to extend the meeting one way or the other. I don't wanna sit here and waste time, but I also want to give the time that's necessary. As well.
Thoughts?
No, I'm your dish sauce.
That's a thought, John. That's a thought.
I just,
Right,
yeah, there's the amount of time in between meetings, depending on what's going on, might be too great a time. To really work something through. You know, oftentimes something's introduced in one meeting, there's some thought put into it, come back and a decision is made at the next meeting. Or a direction is given, and you know, if you wait a long time, now granted, you can throw another meeting in if you have something going on, but measure continuity.
Just like all the things that require a first read, the second read. That have been done in a month and a half, it's 3 months or whatever. Yeah. Anything else?
My 2 cents.
I want to make sure to get it in there. My thought is kind of along those lines of what John's talking about in terms of the time in between meetings. I understand the suggestion is that we could add additional meetings as needed. My concern is, or I guess my preference is, with the way we've been doing it, it makes the schedule, as much as it's more of a time commitment, it makes it more dependable, as opposed to maybe within a week or two, we're scheduling an additional board meeting, have to shuffle schedules and things like that, personal schedules. And make it harder to schedule those meetings to make sure that we have an effective discussion, that we have everybody here to have those conversations. Sorry, I'm still. But I also worry about opportunity for public comment. I think reducing the opportunity for the public to come and weigh in on stuff as it comes up in real time, and not springing meetings on the public within a week or two. Well, my families were also very busy. And I just think to what the priorities were for the board, which is to be more involved, to feel like we're accomplishing something, and I don't know that fewer board meetings accomplishes that. While there are fewer meetings, I think I'd rather have more streamlined or efficient meetings that don't take as much time than a fewer longer ones. But I was on the board back when we were here until 10:30 sometimes, and so was John, so I was with 2 meetings a month. So.
You know, if you do go with version 1, I think it's important for the chair, vice chair, and superintendent to possibly say there really isn't a reason to meet in 2 weeks. If you don't see one, it may be scheduled, but it's also something that might be possible to cancel. Rather than say we must meet, even though there isn't something, you know, even though it's not necessary. Might be a compromise between the 2 schedules.
Right. allow the option. I think it would be, if we were to institute something like that, I think it'd be important for the whole board to weigh in on how that would work, if it's just. Well, we couldn't get consensus outside of what our board would do anyways, we couldn't pull the. It'd have to be just the chair and the vice chair deciding that. So that's something to consider, it would be the chair, vice chair, and the superintendent deciding whether or not to cancel a meeting.
And I think you have what, 3 or 4 meetings that would not happen under version 2. Because there are a lot of months where there's still 2 meetings a month.
Right.
Was it 4 meetings lost there?
3.
3. Because, currently we have like the June 8th meeting is an if needed meeting. Very well might have the schedule for you as version 1, and then put those 3 meetings under the category of if needed. And try that for a year.
Sure. I know, I think that's,
Said Jen.
did you say, Jim?
I said, Jen.
But I'm good. I mean, definitely.
Replace it, Jennifer, or just. You were gonna say something, Jim, did you have feedback responses?
No, thank you for the feedback.
Any other comments? All right. 8.2, licensed staff appreciation.
So we've got licensed staff appreciation coming up, and this was just a placeholder to have a discussion before then as far as some organization of the board and what's not like to be included this year. And so Kimberly and I do some planning to get ready for that.
This is my request to add that on here. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we talked about as a board about activity we could do during this time to demonstrate our appreciation for staff. As we did ice cream tea, and I don't think we did any last year, so I want to make sure that they got talked about this time in advance. Years ago, ice cream? I think that's what we did for a while, except of course when everything was shut down and we weren't handing out food from. For that, was it ice cream, pizza, tea, or was it
Ice cream, yeah, but
Cupcakes, all the time. All suggestions, it's. Yeah, there you go. Was provided by board members.
That's a budget item.
What was plus about what we did more just about making sure that we were on campus during the day, like we did in those times, just to interact face time with the staff. And I think regardless of what we're doing, us being present demonstrates more than anything, the commitment we have to the staff and appreciation we have for them, so. We've got time, obviously, what do you need to?
I think if you're good, then we'll start putting together a plan, I think similar to doing something like with ice cream, so we can be engaged with the staff. I think in the past, we've looked at doing 2 different locations, is that right? One on the elementary side of campus, one on the middle and high side of campus. If you guys agree with the start of the plan, that we can sort of put that together. And come up with something.
I was just thinking of folks that have wanted to submit different ideas than ice cream, or if we just wanted to come up with something tonight.
Is there something that we provide, or have you guys gone and like served it?
We served it,
Okay. Got it.
yeah, we had a couple of different options, different toppings, they would make their request and we would prepare for them.
Could add in like, anyone who comes again in a raffle or something for. You get cards for each one or something, for both schools too. Just add some.
Yeah. Any ideas of what those would be? I mean, I think coffee's usually pretty, yeah, pretty popular. Any other thoughts? Alright. Yeah, but for this, did you need anything else from us on that?
I think that's good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Keep an eye out to keep your schedule clean to be here for a couple hours. Would we be able to do more than two at a time, two board members?
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's nothing on that. You just
Okay.
can't hold up and make a decision about anything.
Nine reports of information, 9.1 elementary school report, evening Brenna.
Short and sweet this month, but our attendance data is looking so much better. The average daily attendance is up, 1.5% from last month. And our absence reasons illness is down 20% from last. So we're getting out of those winter months and that illness is going down, which is exciting. Our trait of the month for March was accountability. Students show accountability by taking responsibility for their actions. And last week we had a really spirit assemblies to celebrate the students who are showing accountability very much. I think this is my most exciting thing to report. We have 6 teachers that are piloting our STAR assessment system, and we're really starting to dive into that. We have an amazing 4th grade teacher who's already delivered both the math and reading assessments. It's been really great looking into those reports, seeing how it lines up to our current assessment system, what we know about our students, and really just the full picture that it gives us. So we've had an initial training, we're going to deliver some more of those assessments. We have a follow-up to really dive in with reports with STAR on the 18th. Yeah, it's been really cool to see. Speaking of testing, state testing has started for the 5th grade. We have started the seed survey, which is part of the testing suite, and then 5th grade is beginning science. So the spring will be full of lots of testing. Upcoming events, if you want to come back here tomorrow, PTO at 6:30. It's always a good time. And then Friday's our grading day, and next Monday starts quarter 4. So 3/4 is the way for the year. It's pretty crazy. And then I put our first music concert coming up, which is May 1st. And then we have a bunch of concerts after that, so I'll give you those dates credits.
Question, feedback for Brenna? Thank you very much. 9.2 middle school report. Evening, Caleb.
Hello. So our students of the month were Zoe Har, Michelle Hammond Mendez, and Alina Scott, most improved. Lakota Brothers, Mason Manning, and Zane Cameron. Our citizens of the month were Holly Farber, Sadie Yamamoto, Sophia Mean, and Jade Calkins. Friday before spring break, we had our annual Run for Funds event. As of this morning, we actually have an update. We raised $4,731.62, which is down 26% from last year, but still a great event. Next, we have a regular attenders by grade level. Percentage of regular attenders in sixth grade year to date was up 2% from February. Seventh grade was down 4%. The percentage of eighth graders regular attending year to date was up 3% for February. Below that, we have our average daily attendance year to date, which is down a little bit at 92.22%. As far as updates go, we currently have 26 students signed up for girls soccer, 9 for boys soccer, and we have 49 students participating in track and field. Coming up on April 15th, TNTP will be back in the building to conduct our second round of learning walks. This is an opportunity for the TNTP team to visit the building and observe classroom instruction, with a focus on the presence of research to line literacy practices. After school, the team will conduct a focus group to debrief with teachers. On April 25th, the Laney SD will be meeting with some of our social studies teachers to do a crosswalk of our current social studies curriculum and the updated social literacy standards. And then on May 1st, we're going to have our next STAR student social. In order to attend, students must be on time and adequately prepared for class at their seat, focused and ready to begin before the tardy bell rings, 95% or more for the month of April. And then if they achieve that, they'll be invited to attend an awesome attender social with pizza and popcorn. That's what I got.
Feedback or questions for Caleb? 9.3 high school report. Evening, Chris.
Good evening, board. Mr. Billy, and Mr. Billy competition this last month, for the first time ever, there was a tie. Which I guess in the whole time they've had Mr. Billy competition, they've never had two people with the exact same scores. I thought there should have been a sudden death like talent or improv or something like that. But no, they did crown two Mr. Billies. The winners were Aiden Kinman, his dream date with me was one of the questions was to take me skydiving. So I'm gonna hold him up to that. But we're going skydiving sometime after he graduates. And then Micah Driesnack was the other winner. Mr. Congeniality was Ethan Bain. And the contestants always amaze me. Raised over 20,000, I think it was around 24, but I didn't have an exact number. But $24,000 was raised for the Children's Miracle Network. I think it was less than last year, which was over 30. But still, just an amazing amount of money and a bunch of hard work for those men who went out and did those fundraisers to raise that money. It was a good show. Did any of you get a chance to attend it, Mr. Village? Yeah, it's always whimsical. I always say that, with the talent's not great, but it is very fun to watch. The next thing, Pleasant Hill Booster Auction is coming up Saturday, April 26th. It will be held at the Oregon Guard Armory in Springfield. I gave the address there. Doors are open for the silent auction that begins at 6 o'clock. Dinner and the live auction will begin at 7. And you can scan that QR code. You can go on the Booster website, that you can purchase tickets online, or you can purchase tickets at the door. And my wife has a very, very nice quote that will be in the auction as well. Plug that for her. The Pleasant Hill Jazz Festival coming up this weekend. And again, many of you have probably attended the Pleasant Hill Jazz Festival over the years. I think it's the 48th annual. I think I want to say that 48th. It's getting close to 50. So it's almost the 50th year hosting that event. It's on April 12th, this Saturday. The setup starts Thursday night. A lot of volunteers, a lot of people are helping out to get that going. It runs all day on Saturday. Both choirs and bands will be performing that and or competing in that. So it's again long day. Caleb is gonna be there from dark 30 till noon. Then I come in at noon and close the place down. So we're looking forward to that. That's gonna be a fun event. Also, it's that time of year. our CTE programs are hosting their the FFA program are hosting their annual plant sale. That will be Saturday, May 3rd. It's at the greenhouse located behind the gymnasiums at the east end of the campus. There are vegetables, tomatoes, flowers, hanging baskets. The sale will run from 9 to 4 o'clock. So just come and support our CTE and FFA programs. There's metal work, there's planters, there's chairs, this other wood shop, and the metal shop both contribute for things like there's gonna be some fire pits. That will be for sale as well. Went over the most improved already. Attendance, that we did not see a great uptick in attendance for us, and the seniors are gonna, they're giving me some fits. They're gonna give me my run for the money this year. So tomorrow, we have our second senior meeting in the student center at 9:15, and if you want to come to that, you know, you could, that's my second of the shot across the bow speeches about what needs to happen for graduation and getting their attendance and just finishing strong. So we'll do that. I think the PHEF is gonna be there talking, as well as the district club, around scholarship opportunities for the seniors ending up the year. Parents were sent, senior parents got their first letter last week. There were 21 seniors that were failing one or more required classes to graduate. So they got that first kind of shot. About 15 of those got their grades up. So with a email home to the parents. So, and this is, I mean, I'm not expecting that by any means. But the thought was this week is the last of the third quarter. So let's see what those grades look like. So the next board meeting, I'll be able to, they're probably gonna ask me, how do seniors do? So I'll be able to tell you how many seniors at the third 9 weeks got those grades up to passing grades. Attendance, like I said, across the board, our freshmen and juniors are doing outstanding, and my junior class typically historically has been my worst as they get their driver's license, they tend to drive away from campus more. I don't know what is with the sophomores, they do have a lot of the illness and appointment absences, but the seniors, like I said, we just need to dial and focus those guys in. We have a plan for that. Our average daily attendance is remaining right about 90%, which those two classes that connect in the sophomores, they're not driving themselves to school. So you've got to kind of shake up and see what's not getting them to school, or if it truly is just the cough that's been going around. But those are the two concerns for me right now are sophomores and seniors. Try to get that attendance up and get those kids across the stage.
Any feedback or questions for Chris?
Any suggestions how I can do this better?
Do some performance dancing or something like you talking about.
Interpretive dance?
Yeah, they're interpretive
I
dance.
took a class in college on that. I might be able to do that.
Thank you, Chris. Then one else, superintendent communication, 10.1. Roseville School District literacy vision for teaching and learning.
So what you've got in front of you is exhibit 2425.219. This vision is also out with district staff right now as well, getting feedback and some fine tuning for. It is a K-12 vision, and it's part of the work that we're doing also through the TNTP professional development. It also aligns with our integrated guidance plan. It's the one area that we have not dug into yet around literacy development and developing the literacy plan, and also get into the multi-tier systems of support this integrated guidance plan. So we've got just a draft for you guys to have in front of you to take a look at. If you go down to the early literacy commitments, it's just some beliefs around strong foundational literacy skills, developing early childhood are essential to future academic success. And then our early literacy program emphasizes systemic and explicit instruction in oral language, awareness, phonics, fluency, and vocabulary. That aligns also with the TNTP instruction that we are first development that we've been going with as well through K-8. Foundational principles, and these are those early literacy program foundational principles. So number one is the foundational skills. So explicit instruction and foundational reading skills to ensure students acquire the necessary building blocks for literacy success. Instruction is differentiated to meet diverse student needs and bridge learning gaps effectively. Complexity, students regularly engage with complex texts and academic language to deepen comprehension and critical thinking. A text focus and evidence-based practices, literacy instruction emphasizes discussions and writing that are evidence-based, rather than understanding and analyzing texts. And knowledge-based building, students build background knowledge and vocabulary through diverse context-rich texts, connecting literacy to broader academic and real-world contexts. The instructional priority, core instruction and assessment, delivering high-quality research-aligned instruction that's supported by ongoing formative and summative assessments. Aligns with our STAR assessment system that we're bringing on board as well to monitor progress and guide teaching. Equity and accessibility, so ensuring all students, including multilingual learners and those diverse needs, receive differentiated support and scaffolding necessary to thrive. Integrated skills development, so balancing foundational skills and writing comprehension, vocabulary, and knowledge building activities to prepare students for future success. Literacy instruction is designed to be interdisciplinary, reinforcing skills across all subject areas. And then the alignment around the professional developments, which we have started in coaching for educators. So to achieve the vision, we prioritize ongoing support for teachers. So ongoing professional development, providing comprehensive training in the four cornerstones of research aligned literacy instruction, culture responsive practices and strategies for the first learner. Agile embedded coaching, so offering personalized coaching and mentorship to help teachers implement evidence-based practices effectively in their classrooms. Coaches collaborate with educators to refine instructional practices and enhance student outcomes. Collaboration in learning communities, so creating opportunities for peer collaboration through professional learning communities to share insights, analyze data, and refine instructional practices. And then reflective practice and leadership, encouraging educators to engage in reflective practice, continuously assessing and improving their instructional methods. So like I said, this is also out with staff right now, and the building principals are getting feedback. We'll take that feedback and continue to put together a list of vision before we bring it back to the board for a final approval.
Back to questions for Jim. Then point to legislative accountability measures.
We'll update on some legislative pieces that are coming through. In particular, there's two that are coming from the governor. So the original budget from the governor was 1136, went through the co-chairs. At the same time, the governor was putting through House Bill 2009 and Senate Bill 141. They are identical bills, just for political reasons and I think discussion reasons. They do identical one in the House, one in the Senate. For discussion, what came from the co-chairs is the co-chairs increased the budget. They said 11.4, but if you read the fine print, it's like 11.3789. And then that was conditional upon the further language of these bills. So they will, it looks as though they are going to pass through in both the House and the Senate. It will have a pretty significant impact on the districts across the state. I feel like we're in a pretty good place to be able to deal with these, but if enacted, the legislation would increase statewide monitoring interventions, and we've actually been going through and touted as the accountability bills for school districts. It would ensue, we've already got our 5 metrics, the longitudinal targets that we've got in place. So just a reminder, that's regular attendance, 3rd grade reading, the 4-year on track to graduate, our 5-year completers, and 9th grade on track for graduation as well. This would include an 8th grade math proficiency based off our state test scores, and also an early grade attendance. So it adds 6 and 7 to our longitudinal markers, and then there will be an 8th one that the state would say school districts can choose, but it's got to be from the state list. So essentially, they would give us a list, and we would get to choose one of those out of there. So they're looking at the accountability measures that would improve our longitudinal targets from 5 to 8 different measures. Not clear yet on how they're going to measure that, like it would be a growth. So if you're moving a growth marker, not clear if it would be, if you don't meet one of them, and you go into a state watch or if you've got to meet all 8 of them, but that would be way down, most likely in the Department of Ed if it does pass. So it also introduces a phased intervention, if districts do not meet performance targets. So in year 2, if you don't meet, the state, in the bill is talking about directed coaching, so they would actually come in and take over your coaching model. In year 3, there would be an intensive program implementation. Again, we don't know what that looks like from the state. And then in year 4, if you still did not meet, there would be a directed spending. So the ODE would come in and take over your SIA allocations, our SIA allocations, and up to 25% of our state school funds. And essentially direct how we would spend those funds. I think not because we knew this was coming, but that we're in good position, I think, to be able to set ourselves up for this. Number one is the interim assessments. So really having the feedback as far as how our kids are doing, what we can measure them more regularly. The professional development that we got going on right now, especially with around literacy, enhanced literacy instruction, getting alignment with our multi-chair system sports. We have some clear rules about when students are getting intervention. Having an instructional coach, and ensuring that we're utilizing a guaranteed viable curriculum. The guaranteed viable curriculum is important. That if we get outside of using that curriculum, we often see where our standards or expectations just start to slowly drop for the students that we're teaching. If we've got a curriculum though that has been approved and it's aligned to the standards and we're following it on the scope and sequence, then we're apt to actually have better standard teaching instruction in the classroom. So that bill is coming out and it is likely to be approved as far as ability. And right now it's a big piece that the legislature is pushing for.
If it doesn't pass, the state when it starts.
Since it's coming from the governor, I would imagine it will start July 1st.
Of the next school year, if it passes.
She has not given any time for the early literacy grants that came out. That started immediately. The Department of Ed had asked for a year to be able to put this, get that in place. It started immediately as well. The governor right now is not showing much patience in the department, giving the Department of Ed much time to implement. She expects them to put it on the fly really quick.
Direct coaching would be part of the intervention strategy. And do you have an idea yet how that would be similar or different to the coaching the district is wanting to start on its own?
I don't. I think it would follow a similar model. I would believe that it would be less legal and more prescriptive at that point.
And would that be that would be something that the district would pay for?
That's unclear. So right now, we're currently under a watch as well for special education at the secondary level, which does not come with any money. So we have to develop goals and send it, but there's nothing from the state as far as money to support that. So it'd be unclear. Yeah. From a legislative lens, the view would be, we're giving you more money than we've ever given you, therefore it's going to come from the district's pocket book.
That would have been my guess.
Yeah, but not clear.
Sense of what's driving this. Is it urban performance, rural performance, both?
Yeah, it's statewide low performance in comparison to, I think, the rest of the country. We also utilize what's called NAEP scores, which is a comparison for other countries as well. In doing that, so I think just not seeing a turnaround post pandemic. But of student success as measured as the statewide assessment systems. Including, where we've had success with attendance, other districts are still really struggling with attendance and struggling with behavior of students.
Here are similar things in other states.
Depends on the state. And a lot of that is, you know, each state, how they fund is going to be a little bit differently. We've had recently, and I forget which state it was, but they had a huge turnaround as far as achievement, but they also lowered their test scores. In doing so, so it was a strategy that was really effective and very good things, but that makes it easier. It does make it easier. What you're seeing around the science and reading and those foundational skills, the states that have seen increases, especially in the early grade levels, have had a heavy focus on science and reading and the foundational skills. Yeah.
Other questions? Board communication, 1.1, committee or community news announcements. 1.2, board engagements and activity calendar.
We've got still a couple coming up. So April 8th, I mentioned PTO meeting at 6:30 here in the community center. April 9th, we've got another booster club meeting coming up, which is 6:30. We've got our weekend, we got our jazz festival. April 16th, education foundation meeting, which is 6 o'clock here in the community center. Then if we're moving to May 1st, fourth grade music concert. May 13th, another PTO meeting. May 14th, booster club meeting. Stephen, I see you signed up for May 21st, education foundation meeting. May 27th is an FFA meeting. That's at 6 o'clock here in the community center. That takes us through May.
Noted we had a couple folks join us after we got started and after public comment, so I just in good faith wanted to offer an opportunity to our audience if there was anybody else that wanted to make a comment this evening.
I'm Nikki. I came to the board meeting last month, but this is the volunteer seats that I'm not holding in the office here, so we just want to become introduced for something.
My name's Will. Thanks for having me. Thank you for helping out. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Glad you guys are here. There's no other business. This time I will recess from regular session. So we can enter into executive session under ORS 192.660. Convene and collective deliberation with person designated to carry on labor negotiations.